So last night I went and saw Bring Me the Horizon on the second day of their UK tour, and I have a few things to say about it. But the overlying point is going to be I think I'm done with Bring Me the Horizon. They're not the band I used to know, they've changed, and in my personal opinion, I think they are pretty much disrespecting their long term fans by what they're doing now. So I've been following Bring Me the Horizon not since the very beginning, but since that period between Count Your Blessings and Suicide Season. So quite a long time, about 2007, 2008, I believe that was. And I've seen them about six, seven times over the years. I've seen them probably on average at least once a year. And I've had a few inklings of something not being quite right over the past few years seeing them live. But now, after seeing them last night, I was left feeling cold, disappointed, and a bit hurt, to be honest, by what the show ended up being. But firstly, let's start with the positive points of the show last night. Firstly, the main support, Don Broco, they were absolutely fantastic. Big fan of theirs. What I enjoy most about their sets is that you can tell they just absolutely love what they do. They enjoy every moment there on stage. And they had a good long set, about 40 minutes, which isn't bad for a support act. They got through a lot of their big hits. The only disappointment is they didn't get to play Fug Workout, which is a personal favourite of mine, which is a shame. But really enjoyed them. They are absolutely brilliant, and I can't wait to see them again very soon. And the positives out of Bring Me the Horizon sets, the first and the main positive for me was the stage layout. Absolutely fantastic what they did with the stage. It was curved. I don't really want to spoil too much about the stage layout if you're going to see them on this UK tour, or whether you're going to see them when they tour North America next year. I assume they'll have the same setup. But needless to say, and what I'll just say is it was absolutely incredible to look at. Really was quite mind blowing at points what they've done with that layout and what they do between the songs. And when they came on stage, that was a highlight. Absolutely brilliant. So that was a major positive there. What they did with the stage and the layout and where all the different members were placed. Absolutely fantastic. Absolutely loved that element of it. So let's get on to the negative points of last night. And unfortunately, there are quite a lot. So the first point I would like to make is their set list. Now, this has been an issue for a few years now. Bring Me the Horizon don't like to think of anything they've done past pre 2012, basically. Anything before then, they just don't seem to care about anymore. And I know they've said in interviews that their first album, Count Your Blessings, which obviously is very different to what they're doing now, they don't like to look at that. They're sort of ashamed of it, and they don't like to play any songs from it, which they haven't done in a long time, which is fair enough because it's very different to how they are now. And I seriously doubt Ollie Sykes would be able to do the get to those level of growls and screams that he did back in 2007 when that came out. Was it 2006? I think it was actually 10 years, crazy. But then we can move on to their other albums. So the set lists that they've been doing for the past couple of years have just been songs from their current album and the album before. So last night pretty much just consisted of That's the Spirit and Sempiternal, which, they're both good albums, but I felt like the set list was a bit of an insult to long-term fans in a way because they've been a band for a very long time, and I followed them since about 2008. One of my favourite albums is Suicide Season. They only played one song from that album, and this is what also annoyed me. At the point they played that one song, you can probably get, if you're a fan of Bring Me the Horizon, you probably know what that song is. But what annoyed me is there was a little before the songs, they do a little talky bit. They talk to the audience, or there's some music, synth playing in the background, and it's all very epic. So before they went into this song from Suicide Season, there was synths. Ollie Sykes spoke to the crowd, and what he said was, "Who's been with us since the beginning?" And of course, everyone screamed, even though most people there were probably about 4 or 5 when their first album came out. So I don't really know why they were saying they were there from the beginning, because they obviously weren't. Ollie Sykes said that this next song is for all the fans who have been with us since the beginning. And I thought, oh God, they're going to play Pray for Plagues, they're going to play something really old. You know, let's be honest here. Their first album is absolutely terrible. It's an awful album, but we want to hear songs from it just because it's acknowledging their past and where they came from. It doesn't matter, in my opinion, if I'm in a band and I don't like songs that I've done. I believe I would still play them if the crowd wanted to hear them, because that's what you are. You're entertainers. You're there to entertain your fans. You're there to give them what they want. And if what he was saying is they did want to sort of say thank you to the long-term fans, and really what they should have played was Pray for Plagues. That is a fan favourite. It was the biggest song from the first album, Count Your Blessings. So the fact they didn't play it, I mean, I'm not surprised they didn't play it, because I think they've only played it once in the past 4 or 5 years, and that was at the Wembley show a couple of years ago with their original guitarist Curtis Ward. But no, it wasn't that. And after saying this is for the long-term fans, they went into Chelsea Smile. Now, I love Chelsea Smile. That is probably my favourite Bring Me the Horizon song. It's the song that got me into them, really. When I first heard that, loved it straight away. And they play it pretty much every single tour they do. So to say that that song is for the long-term fans, fair enough, it's an old song. To me, is a bit of an insult. Firstly, to people who have been following them since the very beginning. And also, the fact they're trying to make out, oh, it's the only reason we're playing it, it's because you're a long-term fan, as if it's like a chore. You know, fair enough, you play it every single show, but it's the fan favourite. The fans want to hear it. It always gets a brilliant reaction, that song. I've seen it live every single time I've seen them, and I've never seen a bad reaction to it. But I was just a bit miffed at the way he said it's for long-term fans. Well, no, it's not. Fair enough, fans have been there for a very long time. But if it was, fans who've been there from the beginning, it would be something from Count Your Blessings. That's all I'm saying about that. So, also, something that annoyed me, the set list. Now, this has been a problem for quite a long time now. As I've said, they only seem to play songs from their latest album and the album before. They don't like going too far back into their back catalogue. What really annoyed me was the fact they didn't play anything from There Is a Hell, Believe Me I've Seen It, There Is a Heaven, Let's Keep It a Secret. Their third album, which is a big one for me. I love that album, just not as much as Suicide Season, but it's still a big album for me. And they didn't play any songs from it. They haven't for a while, actually, which is a bit odd in my opinion, because there's so many great songs on it, like It Never Ends, Fuck, Crucify Me, just absolutely brilliant songs on there, and obviously Anthem, which I loved as well. But they seem to refuse to play anything from them. And I know there were some issues back in that era, back in that period of their career with their old guitarist Jonah, and he did sort of sue them, I believe, thinking he deserved more royalties for the songs on that album, because he claimed that he wrote a load of them and he wasn't getting the acknowledgement for it, and he also wrote a lot of the guitar riffs for the songs, which is fair enough. But maybe that's a reason they don't play it, but still, I mean, even if they just played one song from that album, I would have been happy. Like, It Never Ends is a massive song for a lot of people. From what I've heard, it's a song that got a lot of people into Bring Me the Horizon, just like Chelsea Smile did for me. So the fact they don't play it seems very odd to me, and probably add insult to injury. The night before, so I saw them last night, so 2 nights ago, they actually did play a song from that album. They played Crucify Me at the O2 in London. So why they cut that out of the set last night, I don't know. I would have, if I'd seen that song live, heard that song live, because I've not heard it live since, well, it must be about 2009, 2010 now. It's been a long time. If I'd heard that, I would have been pleased. I would have been happier if I'd heard that. But no, they didn't play it. They played one from Suicide Season. The rest of the songs were from the last 2 albums, which was very disappointing on the set list. In my opinion, a bit of an insult once again to the long-term fans. And actually, last year when I saw Bring Me the Horizon in the Halloween show last year, I actually tweeted them saying that your set list was a bit of an insult to long-term fans. And they blocked me on Twitter. So there you go. Looks like you're not allowed to voice an opinion anymore without the band or the band management getting all really huffy about it. So there you go. Another reason why last night was not fun, in my opinion, was the crowd. Now, fair enough, any age pretty much can go see a band. Who am I to say how old you have to be to like music? But what really stood out to me is how many younger people there were there, and it seems like Bring Me the Horizon have reinvented themselves, similar to Fall Out Boy. Because if we use Fall Out Boy as an example, they've been around since 2003, and now they got back together about 3-4 years ago after their hiatus, and now they've got a very younger audience again. So it's very interesting to see that the long-term fans sort of move away and new ones come in. For Bring Me the Horizon, that is a massive point, because looking into the crowd, loads of teenagers, a lot of younger people there, which is fair enough, because I know their last two albums have been very different, and perhaps these sort of people didn't really know about them before them. But it really did highlight to me how the longer term fans, just maybe how I'm feeling now, have sort of given up on them and don't want to see them live anymore. And I can understand why. And it just made me a bit sad when I saw people were jumping to Chelsea Smile when they played it, but they didn't know the words. They didn't know when the guitars came in and when the beats went down and things like that. And it really made me think, these people don't really know this song. They don't know why they're jumping. They're just going along with it. But then when Throne was played, everyone lost their crap. I'm not a big fan of Throne, but everyone was losing it as if it was like the big Bring Me song. Oh my God, we love this song. And I'm just there thinking, this song's really average, and this is not what I want to hear from a Bring Me the Horizon gig. I like their first album, their latest album, That's the Spirit. I was a fan of it, very lighter, more mainstream than their last stuff. But, I went along with it because some of the songs are really good. But hearing them live, it's, in my opinion, they can't have it both ways. They can't expect some songs to draw mosh pits and circle pits and walls of death, and then other songs to just get people having their lighters in the air. Because there was a period of like 4 or 5 songs which were all slower songs, and people were just standing there, and I'm just like, people are just standing here at a Bring Me the Horizon gig. This is not what their gig should be about. They were always high octane when I went and saw them when I was younger, but now it's just wimpy. It's just pathetic, just so annoyed. And those are the main reasons, and I was just so disappointed. And they got to the end, and I was thinking to myself, I want this to end. After they went past Chelsea Smile and there was all these songs that all the people in the crowd loved, and I was like, these are average songs. I was thinking to myself, you know what? I think I'm done with Bring Me the Horizon. I've seen them a good few times. Every time I've seen them previously, I've had a good time, but last night I just didn't enjoy it, really. It's difficult to say I didn't enjoy it completely. I mean, I was just very disappointed and a bit hurt and a bit down about it, which is very odd. But I just feel like they've gone in a direction, and it's not the Bring Me the Horizon that I know or loved back in the day. And I think that's it. I think I'm done. And I'll be really interested to know what other people think. I'm sure, all the comments on Twitter from what I saw were positive, which is, I guess that's what you're going to see, isn't it, on social media. But I'd really be interested to know if anyone out there saw it and were like me, thinking this is really quite something. Quite something, and thought, you know what, I'm done with them as well. I'd like to know your thoughts. Even if you like the gig as well, if you've enjoyed the UK tour, let me know in the comments. I'd really like to know your thoughts anyway. Whether you agree or disagree with me, I'd like to hear your thoughts. So why not comment below? Thank you for listening. I just wanted to rant because I was just a bit disappointed. When I had time to reflect this morning, I realised I was even more hurt than last night, which may sound a bit sad, but there you go. Anyway, thank you for watching. Bye-bye.